There we go. We are live. Ants must go and do things for people. Oh, oh. Oh, swimming to go there. Ants. Whoosh. Whoosh. Oi, you pain in the ass. Why won't it let me just... No, I want to click on the fucking... Really? Holy shit, that took a fucking act of God. One of these days, man. All right, so yeah, I'm about to be doing some preaching, but I'm gonna do some preaching on a level that y'all are going about to have a shit kniff because I found one, and y'all about to lose your minds. Hold on a sec. While I bring this here up because you about to lose your minds. Oh my God. Oh my God. What's this called? All right. Let's see here. Oh God, I can't believe I'm doing this again. Freaking even watch this shit, but because it's absolute shit. When you see it, you will lose your fucking minds. I bullshit you not. It's on that level of motherfucker. I want to reach through this damn screen and just snatch a motherfucker up. So hang on while I present arms. Righty then. So, I want you to understand something right quick. This man is an outspoken liberal. Calls himself a classical liberal. So, definitely take this with a grain of salt, but y'all better understand something. It's this bad. It is this bad.
It has ignited a firestorm of debate like no other in the Bill of Rights. In this video, we'll unpack some of its history and controversy. But let's start here.
I guess sound.
The grammar
yes,
on the
no,
amendment
maybe
is
so.
a
Hey, yo.
I mean, by dedicating one of the initial 10 amendments to guns, clearly the founding fathers thought this was
kind of important to me because
right.
If you can't hear this, then I need to go back and start everything over again.
Not well written.
Shit out.
A well-regulated militia,
I just want to know.
Being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's at least 1 comma too many, and it goes in reverse order of importance. As an article in The Economist concluded, it is hard to believe the framers would be happy with the result of their work. America remains bitterly divided over guns thanks to a bizarrely worded amendment that has not stood the test of time. Yeah, if the goal was to write a simple, clear sentence that would be understood for hundreds, if not thousands of years, I'm giving James Madison like a D-.
All right, so a sentence that's supposed to last for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and this man cannot understand something that I found profoundly simple at the tender age of 4 years old, 1 year older than my dog. I want to point something out to y'all. I started reading at 3, so it's not that big of an accomplishment, but I'm gonna point out at you. The Second Amendment is freaking clear as water. All right. Let me point this out at you. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. That is called a prefatory clause. It basically is saying that this is our reasoning behind making sure that every American citizen is armed. Because if we have to call up a militia, it is easier if they are already armed than having to provide them arms, ammunition, and uniforms. Instead, we can only, we'll be able to turn around and say, all right, well, let's provide the uniforms, the structure, food and logistics and whatnot. But they take care of the arms, they take care of their ammunition, they provide their weapon, because the reality is that they need to be comfortable with your weapon when you're out there on a combat field, not be sitting there diddly fucking around going, well, this is a new gun that was just shipped out to us, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing because all these extra moving parts and shit. So let me point something out at you. This has happened on many occasions. Weapons just shipped to the front. Hey, here you guys go. Here's brand new shit. Have fun. And the guys on the front line go, well, shit, we could use with about 5,000 more of these. I don't know, maybe 1 million more of these. And we could use with some actual hands-on training rather than whatever the fuck you guys came up with, this little fucking pamphlet that I got to read and hope to God that you put all the information I need to know in that pamphlet. This is why the militia is supposed to provide their own arms and ammunition, so that you are familiar with your gun. Plain and simple. But I digress. Let's continue on with, the beat down that I'm about to put on this man. All right. The second part of the constitutional amendment number 2. All right. Which states, this is not the prefatory clause, but the actionary clause, states, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, comma, shall not be infringed. So that comma actually has its place, its point, and it is a good reason for it. It's a pause so that you can understand this first part of the actionary clause. This is the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Not the right of the government, not the right of a government entity, not the right of the government's military, not the right of any other motherfucker than the individual American citizen. The right of the people to keep and bear arms. And then the action of the actionary clause. Shall, meaning it is law. Not, meaning you may not, as a government entity, be infringed, meaning you cannot make a law or any legislation, ordinance, or otherwise which reduces an individual of their specific American Second Amendment right. Any questions? Because obviously this man is kind of lost, and I thought, questions might help. Oh, by the way, quick shout outs and head up. Hi, William Tyre, Mad Shad, and Grant. Good to see y'all. Glad you came in. Now I'm gonna go ahead and real quick segue back to the video where I'm about to fucking just start mashing on this dude. All right. Because we got through his opening arguments, which are completely unfounded and untrue and untrustworthy. His opening arguments is that the Second Amendment was poorly worded because it's a jumble of unrecognizable and not understandable wording.
But it does raise the question, how did everything that happened in America's early days, from the intolerable acts to the Revolutionary War, to the Articles of Confederation, to the Federalist Papers, build up to that exact sentence. We'll cover all that and more through the following 8 facts about the Second Amendment.
Okay, he makes a good point. Good questions. How did all of this lead up to the Second Amendment being profoundly important? Let's see here. As a for instance, maybe the fact that the Parliament's rights of the British citizen were not being adhered to in the colonies. Just a thought. Okay. What was it? The Magna Carta was not being adhered to in the British colonies. If you went out hunting, you had to then relinquish the skin, hooves, and best cuts of the meat to be shipped to England. Don't know if y'all knew that about the hunting laws there back in those days. That was a new thing that they were trying. You have to give us your best cuts of meat. You have to give us your hides. You have to give us the hooves of the animal. That way, you don't get anything fucking useful out of it. You can have the bones, the pieces of shit, covered freaking entrails, and maybe we might let you have, some of the haunch. But no, you ain't getting the back strap. You ain't getting none of that extra. You can't have the hooves make ashtrays or jewelry or combs or none of that. You're not allowed to make money off of it because, British government and of course, the king's deer and all that shit. So you can't, do any of that. But yeah, you can hunt these deer and you can then have, a part of the hind quarter for dinner. Everything else goes to the king. That's what the laws were, not necessarily the laws, but what they enforced. I won't point that out to you. And not any of that ever actually made it to the king. It was an effort against corruption that American citizens, being so armed, had the right and ability to stand up to that government that was causing them harm. On top of all this, there was a tax on tea. On top of all this, they were trying to reduce firearms in the home. They were, on top of all that, they were making it impossible, actually impossible, for you to do foreign trade without a writ from the king himself. Now, this is all outlined in the Magna Carta, so fine, okay, whatever. But not all of it's outlined in the Magna Carta. The part about, having the writ to do foreign trade from the king and sort of thing, that was in the Magna Carta. Fine. Okay. But that was like one of the straws that was underneath the straw that broke camel's back. Not necessarily that straw. So now I digress, but let's get back to y'all video where, I'm about to lose my shit because, y'all got to understand, this man says he is a classic liberal and that classic liberals are the original freedom-loving patriot. I personally would argue the individual American citizen, but who am I, right? Any Hoosiers.
Fact number 1, the roots of the Second Amendment can be traced to the English Bill of Rights of 1689. The English Bill of Rights holds an elevated stature in legal history, perhaps only behind the Magna Carta. To this day, it's a crucial statute in English constitutional law. This document establishes basic civil rights.
Allow me to fix his little fedunket. British law does not have constitutional law. They have parliamentary law. There's a slight caveat, but I'm gonna continue.
The line of succession for the crown. It also lays out a constitutional requirement for the crown to seek the consent of the people, as represented in Parliament. It's
Again, parliamentary, not constitutional, parliamentary. You got to remember, they function off of the Magna Carta and the English Bill of Rights and the structures and writ of Parliament, not a constitution. We are a constitutional republic. They are a parliamentary patriarchy. It's a little bit different. Just a little bit different. I mean, one did come from the other, but damn.
Largely influenced by the ideas of John Locke, as of course were the American founding fathers. So it's no surprise that the Second Amendment would have its roots in the English Bill of Rights, which declared that Protestant citizens may have arms for their defense suitable to their conditions and as allowed by law. That provision was likely the result of the English crown's attempts to use militias to control and disarm dissidents prior to the Glorious Revolution that removed King James II in favor of William and Mary. In her book, To Keep and Bear Arms, The Origins of an Anglo-American Right, historian Joyce Lee Malcolm argued that the right of the English population to privately hold arms was born in 1689. She asserted that Article 7 of the English Bill of Rights entrenched an individual's private right, as opposed to the right of a collective militia, as part.
Okay. Before we go too far into the dumbassery, because that hurt. This special woman, I mean, good Lord. The British citizen has the right to keep and bear arms is not even a debate here. They're legally supposed to be allowed to, according to their condition and needs. All right. Regardless of the Protestant, whatever caveat that was struck down by Parliament later on. Of course, so was the amendment, but we got to take into account here that, it's actually foundational law. So it kind of can't be struck down by Parliament. That being said, the caveats that they made, the different caveats that they made were actually able to be restructured and turned to different sides. So now it's all British citizens versus just British citizens of the Protestant faith. That being said, it is not a constitutional right for the British people. It is a parliamentary acquiesced right. There's a difference because Parliament still has to work in conjunction with the king. We don't have all that bullshit here. We have the actual Second Amendment, which is fair and honest, straightforward in its wording, and tells you the absolute God's honest fucking truth. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's not rocket science. The people. It's a populace of a nation. That's what the people is in any particular context, referring to government. The people is the populace of the nation, the average Joe, the public. This isn't rocket science. This is an acquiesced understanding of constitutional law in America and worldwide. The words "the people" do not refer to any government entity ever in any context of any legislation. So we can go ahead and throw that shit to the wayside. There's no reason for government to ever think that it's referring to them to keep and bear arms. It's referring to us. We have the right to keep and bear arms. And when you says, you know, that this individual who is, I'm not even going to get onto their political leanings or none of that crap. It is a matter of they're trying to do the right thing, you know, by going and getting the British citizens their rights to own and keep arms for personal defense and shit like that, in defense of their nation, like it's supposed to be. Even in British common law, but especially in British parliamentary law. But they're fighting an uphill battle there. Whereas here in the United States, we're not supposed to have to fight an uphill battle to keep our guns, to be allowed to purchase new guns, to make our own guns. It's not supposed to be an uphill battle. By the very foundational definitions, by the very words set down in the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers. I mean, come on. It's not rocket science, y'all. Intrinsically, a free nation, a liberated nation, a people who are governing themselves, self-governance, in fact, must therefore be armed in order to protect that liberty. That is the actual outline of the Second Amendment. Because a militia is necessary to the security of that free state. And to call up a militia is a royal pain in the ass. Because you've got to provide all this extra shit. Taking just a little bit off the top, the arms and ammunition goes freaking leaps and bounds ahead. Because now you're not having to supply the most utilized portion of their equipment. Military strategy. Go figure. Some of these dumb motherfuckers are swerve. But let's get back to how the British are supposed to have the right to keep and bear arms just like us Americans. However, they don't.
Part of British constitutional law. This video is brought to you by Students for Liberty, an international nonprofit for business state. But check out the Pennsylvania Declaration of Rights from 15th Amendment also has its roots in state constitutions. The Bill of Rights, of course, was ratified in 17.
No, it does not. The state constitutions were reflective of the overall constitution because they had to adhere to one singular ideal. Not because that one singular ideal was made to encompass all of the different states. If you look at their constitutions, the way they were originally worded, some of those states had some very biased ideals about guns. But I digress.
1791, but check out the Pennsylvania Declaration of Rights from 15 years earlier. That the people have a right to bear arms for the defense of themselves and the state. Vermont's constitution, enacted in 1777, said the people have a right to bear arms for the defense of themselves and the state.
Let's check that date real quick. 1777. When was the Declaration of Independence written? 1775. It was issued on July 4, 1776, after being voted on and ratified on July 2nd, 1776. The Declaration of Independence is the justification for the foundation of a new nation. That justification for the foundation of a new nation explicitly states that the states and therefore the people coming together are the ones doing this, not the constitutions of the different states. So, again, no, it's not the constitutions of the different states that make up the American Constitution. The American Constitution was written to be adhered to by the several states. And because the states had input on it, because their representatives had input on it, who were representing individuals within that state. That's where that comes from. It's the entire breakdown of it, not just, oh, this one little clause in this one piece of paper made this happen. No. Hundreds of different legislations from hundreds of different pieces of paperwork and history throughout history states that for an individual to be of their own liberated abilities, their own freedom to go and do as they see fit as according to God, their creator, they have the right and the necessity, therefore, to keep and bear arms, to utilize in their own defense or the defense of others. Of course, obviously, this is coming from a rocket scientist, not a politician. But I digress.
Finally, here's the Massachusetts Declaration of Rights of 1780. The people have a right to keep and to bear arms for the common defense.
Again. That does not mean that that's why it was put into the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment was based on the fourth delineation on the Bill of Rights. Read that. Actually read that. And then tell me what the Second Amendment actually means. Because you obviously haven't read that portion, or you'd know. Because a militia is necessary to security and the safety of our shores in a free state, that people, being individuals, must go therefore and defend that nation and defend themselves and their earnings. Therefore, the ability for those people to be armed shall not be infringed by any legislation. Whoa, there's the fourth edition, the fourth article to the Bill of Rights. But hey, I mean, we just put a whole bunch more words on it. So they sucked it down into the most succinct way to say that. But, I don't know what I'm talking about because, I'm just a rocket scientist and know my history and all that fun shit. I'm no politician, right?
Notice what those wordings have in common that's different from the final version of the Second Amendment.
A porpoise and a dolphin both have bottle noses and both breathe out of the tops of their heads. They are not the same critter. But notice how they've got that in common.
Amendment. In all of those state constitutions, the language about the right to keep and bear arms comes first. These state constitutions reflect the reality that in founding era America, citizen militias existed to provide defense against the possibility of an invasion from, well, the British, yes, but also from aggression on the part of the federal government. Standing armies of professional soldiers.
Okay, that's the first time this gentleman's actually gotten something right. Well, I won't say the first time, but pretty fucking close. The citizen's militia, meaning the individual American citizen being so armed. had the right to turn around and say, Nunky Sam, you fucking up, son. And Grandpa George, as for you, the horse you rode in on, and by the by, and wooden ships do burn brightly, don't they? But again, I digress. Little comedic relief because of the stupid.
Soldiers, like what we have nowadays in the Navy, Army, Air Force, and so on, were viewed with deep skepticism, and in fact, viewed as unnecessary, provided the citizenry could arm itself. Indeed, in Federalist 46, James Madison argued that state governments with militias of the people on their side would suffice to counterbalance a federally controlled regular army, even one with the full resources of the country. And it makes sense to prefer a decentralized power structure. Think about it. Nowadays, the target for an invading foreign army or a rogue general would be obvious: the government buildings in Washington, D.C. But if power and authority were thoroughly decentralized, armed militias scattered throughout the country from state capitals to cities to small towns without even a central registry or official list of who's a member, where and whom would an invading army attack? New York.
Okay. One of the reasons why it's called the disorganized militia. There's no registry. There's no assigning. You simply say, I am a Minuteman. And then you act accordingly. That's the reality of it. That's how it's supposed to be. I smell stupid here because we've gone away from that because of liberals.
New York City, Ashtabula, Ohio, Last Chance, Iowa. That's why classical liberals have long pushed for decentralization as a measure of enhanced security.
What he just said? Hold up. What he just said? I knew that's the thing. What he just said. Classic liberals. I believe he meant to say libertarians. I want to believe that because classic liberals. Let's just get on that measure for a sec. Predominantly linked to the Democratic Party throughout history. Known as progressives in recent years. However, going back through history, we're on the left-wing side of things. Anti-American, anti-gun, anti-expansion, anti-manifest destiny. Some of those things are not great, but you just bear with me, all right? You know, it's these small things that I keep on saying, wait a minute. Classic liberals. Son, you're confused. Because I'll tell you who it really were. It's not liberals. It's not conservatives. Hell, it's not even the independents. It's libertarians that you're trying to talk about here. Libertarian. It's in the name. Liberty. Libertarian. Just pointing out to you. Now, this man on my mama. This man right here is pushing for less gun control. I'm all right with that. However, He's trying to point out 8 facts about the Constitution, specifically the Second Amendment, which are not so much facts as they are suppositions based on empirical evidence. A supposition is just that. You suppose it's the case. But when it's really not, when you actually look at the foundational history, that you actually go through the unbiased history, all right, you take everything into account, and then you take out all the opinions and you only put in the evidence, you realize, wait a minute, without an opinion on this fact, this is how the timeline runs. I'm saying, bruh, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're mostly wrong. You're wrong again. The last fucking point you made was the only one that was right. And it's kind of freaking retarded because it's still a left-wing ideal. Let that fucking blow your mind real quick. But, funny enough, it's true. That one thing, that one little supposition he makes at the very end of this video is true. Everything else is bull hockey that has been spread over with some gold fixins to make it look like it's a gold platter. So, any Hoosiers, I'm gonna skip ahead, and then the Freedom Forum is fair and honest, open. Okay, let's do it.
It expired in 2004. There have been multiple failed attempts to renew the ban. Fact 8, American police are increasingly militarized. Okay, so this isn't really a fact about the Second Amendment, but it does make the Second Amendment just as important now, if not more so, as when it was written. As someone who used to be pro-gun control, this is an argument I trotted out all the time. Sure, in the days when there were roving British soldiers during the Revolutionary War and all, citizens might have needed guns, but those days are long gone. What I didn't understand was that today's police officers are, in many ways, the equivalent of yesteryear's British soldiers. Like the British soldiers, they roam the streets with an undeserved air of authority, enforcing laws many of us find reprehensible, their uniforms and weapons funded by the involuntary collection of taxes. And as we saw during, for example, the riots in Ferguson, Missouri, those weapons are absurdly powerful. We're talking stuff that was used by the military during the invasions of Iraq and
not absurdly powerful, just powerful enough to do the job necessary in this day and age. The one qualm I have with his statement.
Afghanistan. The ability of each and every citizen, not just the rich, not just those with friends in Congress, not just those already well off enough to own a gun, to acquire and own a gun, is a check on those police who, as we've seen time and time again, have the tendency to abuse their authority. So there are 8 facts about the Second Amendment.
So yeah, they do tend to abuse their authority. That being said, I mean, we know the saying goes, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts utterly, or absolutely, whichever you want to use. It's basically the same shit. So, my point is that with as many discrepancies as are in his argument, And the fact that he openly states, all right, liberal, classic liberal, and, mind you, was part of the anti-gun movement. I see too many holes. Way too many holes. And this is after, I spent my entire childhood making sure that my facts were exactly correct, going down the line through different freaking museums, going and checking different evidence, going and checking different spots, going on different tours, figuring out what the real facts were, looking at the actual documents, going to the battlefields. I spent my childhood learning American history to hear this fucking cockamamie crap about how the Second Amendment was written for some alternative fucking means than what it was actually written for. And the timeline, which, I'm sorry, but you're not Mandela affecting my ass. I know too much. I know too much. You cannot run me around the fucking circle and say, oh, no, this is what, this is it, that, and the other. No, motherfucker, listen. You just spouted a bunch of bullshit that shows me that you do not understand the actual train of events which created America. We called it these United States, not the United States. Something you should think about. Because there were other countries around the world that had alliances, and they were all referred to as states. God, some of these people, I just want to shut the fuck up and sit down. You don't know shit. I mean, come on. Nein, du wirst aufhängen, Hund. Ist weg. Ja. Du wirst aufhängen. Let's see it. See? You're on candid camera. Du wirst aufhängen. Come on. Let's see it, Hund. What I said. Exactly. Du wirst aufhängen. So, it bothers the feck out of me because these people, they want to turn around and says all this other shit and try to make it their narrative, and then they go back and say, oh, well, no, this was originally this and this was originally that. One of the points this cocksucker made was that, at one time, because it suited the Republicans, they were anti-gun. At one time, because it suited the Democrats, they were anti-gun. Yes and yes. However, the real Americans, the real fucking Americans, learned about George Washington and what he said about a party system in our government. Good sirs, I just left a country of parliament. Would so too that I would have that here? Nay, I will nay have that here. In fact, I abhor it. Political parties will be the death of a nation. Thomas Jefferson. That man was against political parties too. But here we are saying, oh no, he was part of he was part of the feds. You know, they had the feds and the Whigs. He was part of the feds. No, he wasn't. He was an anti-federalist. He wasn't part of the Whig party, but he was an anti-federalist. But I digress. You know, this is all these freaking bullshit ass things that you get taught in school, and they tell you this is the case, but when you actually go and fucking do the research yourself, you turn around and you're going to be just as mad as I am. I swear to fucking God you will be, because this is bullshit and it makes me madder than an old red hen that is kicking a fucking dust cloud up in a damn hornet's nest. This is why we have gun control legislation, because people misinterpret shit. They go and they says, well, this means this and this means that, when they don't know what they're fucking talking about. And, you know, when they say, well, this was the foundation. No, that's not the foundation of it. That is inspiration, but it is not the foundation. There's two different parts of that. Inspiration, sure. Foundation, fuck no. The foundation was, we are a colony 3,000 miles away from you people. It takes 6 weeks for you to go to and from. It's a month and a half for us to ship goods and taxes on a sea where pirates will attack our ships because our ships are tied to your government. They attack our shores because our colonies are tied to your government. And on top of that, you want us to pay for your wars, which you started with these other governments that came to our shores and killed our people, which you pressed into service against their will, as they had no foundation in it. They were not, as it's been said, people who had a dog in the fight. So when that tax increase came about on tea, on textiles, and arms and ammunition, why do you think that Americans would have gone completely fucking ballistic? After they fought your war, carrying arms and ammunition that you provided, sure, whatever. Wearing uniforms you provided, yeah, sure, whatever. After being pressed into your military. Not, oh, well, you know, no, this is, we're at war, please volunteer. It's not how that worked back then. It's not, we're at war, you're being drafted, you can either fight on the front lines where you're being drafted to, or you can volunteer for a different group within our military, or you can spend the time that the war is happening in a jail cell. These are your options. You didn't have options. No, you motherfucker, you're getting your ass in that red fucking that red woolen jacket and grabbing up that fucking that gigantic fucking musket, and you are walking 150 fucking miles through wilderness, cold, hardship, animals, and everything else trying to fucking kill you. And then you're going to line up like a bunch of fuddy-duddies and shoot at people not even 100 yards from you and pray to God you hit something because that motherfucker ain't rifled. No, you cannot bring your own weapon. You have to use what we provide you. You may not bring your own knives. You may not bring your own hatchets. You may not bring your own pistol or rifle. You must utilize the arms, ammunition, and equipment provided to you by the royal regiments. That's the way that worked. You didn't get the option of, oh, well, I like to carry this small knife because it helps me, and my dad gave it to me. No, that was an American thing. The British, you didn't have a small knife. They gave you a knife. Yeah, sure. But it wasn't small, and it wasn't a fucking utilitarian knife. It was a dagger, which just so happened to have a sharp edge. And you got a bayonet as well. If you were an officer, you got a sword and a pistol. You didn't get the musket. This is reality. You had to conform to specific taskings in that military, and you did not have any kind of options whatsoever. You could not shit without express permission and a fucking soldier looking over your shoulder. This is the British military we're talking about during the French and Indian Wars, which caused the American Revolution, which caused the the War of 1812. Now, we talk about causal wars a lot with, World War I, World War II, but we fail to mention that there are other such causal wars that were fought. French and Indian, American Revolution, the War of 1812, all three of those were quick succession wars, and they were all fought because of the First War. The First War was the French and Indian Wars, caused the taxation of the American people. The taxation of the American people caused unrest, and then that caused the confiscation of arms and ammunition from the American protesters. American protesters then revolted, and the colonies followed suit. This caused the American Revolution, the Declaration of Independence, and the subsequent war for independence, known as the American Revolution, which caused the British to think, well, whatever, let them play their games. We'll just press gang them on the high seas. We'll just steal from them on the high seas. We will tax their goods on the high seas. We have a larger navy. We have a grander army. Who are these country bumpkins to think that they can even so slightly be able to stop the grand British Empire? This was their mindset, mind you. That caused the Third War, the War of 1812, where Americans decided, okay, fuck you. You're going to start taxing our ships. You're going to start cutting our trade and whatnot. We're going to march our asses right into freaking Canada and take your land and take your money and take your arms and take your men, and we're going to see what you think about it. And of course, the Canadians responded quite viciously. They marched all the way to Washington and burnt down the freaking White House. So you can kind of understand why, Might be a little bit, leery about teaching about the War of 1812 and all that fun shit because we got our asses kicked. But, we ran them all the way back to Canada and whatnot. It's later on happenings after the White House was burnt down. But, that's never taught about because the War of 1812 is just kind of glossed over in school. But all three of those wars were fought because of the first one. Specifically because of the first one. And what caused the first war was a spat between England and France. So, this is why I'm just like, what caused Americans to think that, arms are so important? I don't know. Maybe it's because we've been attacked. Like during the foundation of our country, we were attacked twice. 2 separate fucking wars. Maybe we're a little distrustworthy because of that one. Or maybe, just maybe, it's because Britain never left. They used subterfuge in order to reduce the American government back to what the original designs that the British government had for the American government was. Gun control, segregation, classism, and Marxism. Believe it or don't, those all can actually work together under their particular fix-up sort of shit. So I want to point out to you, it's you may think that the Brits are our allies and all that fun shit. Yes, to an extent that is the case. Okay, the average Brit, I'd give that man a hug. I'd sit there and I'd eat pickled herring with him just for camaraderie. I fucking hate pickled herring, but I'd eat it with him for camaraderie. Like, yeah, okay, this is like, the passing of the coffee sort of thing, or the peace pipe. Basically the same idea, but with, British beans on toast or some shit. Sit there and just as a kind of a camaraderie, to tea with a British biscuit or something, a little cookie, because that's what it is. It's the cracker, basically. But you see, this is what I'm talking about. We have camaraderie with our British cousins, all right? Just not their government. Because we fucking hate our government. I mean, for reference, we fought 2 wars over that. 3 wars that caused the, themselves, but 2 wars over that one specific. You will not fuck with us, was the message we were trying to put out there. It took another 150 years for the world to understand. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't fuck with the Americans. Was it our standing military? Is that what got y'all's attention? Or maybe was it the fact that even though we had a standing military, Americans, since the inception of America, the citizenry have been the most heavily armed human beings in the foundational heritage of humanity as a whole throughout all written history. The most heavily armed civilian populace. There are Americans that have tanks. There are Americans that have P-51D Mustangs. There are Americans who have Harrier jump jets. There are Americans who have freaking howitzers and fucking bazookas and RPGs and fucking Gatling guns and miniguns and you name it. Yes, Biden, we can own cannons. Matter of fact, I could fucking order a cannon to my front fucking door. It's not an NFA item. Maybe you didn't know that. But yeah, I could have a fucking pirate cannon shipped right to my fucking door. Matter of fact, within the next 3-4 days, I'm going to be getting my birthday present here pretty soon. And y'all going to see what I means by you could have it shipped right to your fucking door. So miss me with that bullshit. It stank. Y'all heard. Cha-cha, all you got to go do is go down to Rock Island Armory. Okay? Be able to pass a modern background check. Very simple. Unless, of course, you're a Canadian, in which case you can still have it. You still own it, I mean. But you cannot have it at your property. Thank you, Justin Trudeau. Well, you can still own it. God's honest. Anything that is not our standard issue for frontline battle now, an American citizen may own, and even other country, other countries' people, if they got the money, may own it, purchase it outright. You just have to be able to pass a background check. The NICS 4473 fun shit, because it is a particular firearm. Okay, it is a firearm because the tank has a gun, or because the not cannons, but you get what my drift is. Tank is a firearm because it operates a firearm. Yes, it's an armored vehicle. Great. Okay, whatever. I can own a fucking armored vehicle. I can't own a tank because my background's a little bit fucking weird. But I mean, yeah, we could own we can own cannons. I mean, I could have a fucking golf ball cannon in my backyard. What? If I want a fucking 32 pounder, all I got to do is be able to have somewhere to shoot it. Doesn't mean I can't have it on my property. I can have a cannon sitting right on my front porch. Can't nobody fucking say shit. Except for one thing. If I go firing that cannon off, yeah, now we got a little bit of it. You just eat a bit of fucking oopsie-doo. Whereas, cops come be over and be like, Mr. Price, were you out here firing your cannon? I have no idea what you're talking about, sir. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying it. Yeah, I could have it. Literally, I could have it. But I just can't shoot it here. Got to have a place to go shoot it. There are several places all across the United States. There is at least one place in every single state that is designated a live fire zone for artillery. You can literally just purchase a fucking howitzer and take it there. Huh? And they'll just let you shoot it. God's fucking honest. And that's every single state. Some states you actually have to have permission to be able to shoot it or own it or whatnot because they're kind of fucking stupid little fucking liberal holes. But every fucking other state, it's just open. It's open season, son. So I wouldn't shoot it at the White House neither, because I got to point something out to you. Biden is the problem. Heels up Harris is the problem. These clowns calling themselves representatives, but representing their own wants and wishes in the lobbyists. That's the problem. The White House ain't the problem. And honestly, it's a historical landmark, and it's part of one of those things that just, you know, when you see it as an American, as long as you're not thinking of Biden, there's a flutter of joy that flows through your heart. It says, fuck, I'm glad I live in this country. I'm glad I was born here. Lord, thank you so much. Because y'all got to understand, I could have been born in fucking Mexico. My dad spent enough time down there. My mama spent enough time down there. I could have been born in damn Mexico. So I thank God I was born in America. Shit, I was born in Torrance, California. Let that kind of sink in as to how close I was being to be born in fucking Mexico. That's south of Los Angeles, just a little bit north of fucking San Diego, to give you a little bit of an understanding about, you know, where I was in relation to Mexico. So the fact that I was born in America is a joy to my heart. When I see the White House, when I see the Library of Congress, when I see the National Archives, when I see any of these famous foundational buildings here in America, my heart flutters. And I feel pride and patriotism. I feel joy for the fact that I am an American. And I feel this need to keep it that way. So when somebody says some of this dumb shit, I go fucking ballistic. And you will see me on a Psycho Sunday. I tell you what, you fucking just want to, you know, snatch them up by their scrawny little neck and pop their head off like a water balloon. You know, these people make me nutty because they know what the law is saying. All right. I've actually had this specific discussion. I said, put all your politic bullshit to the side for a second. I want you to think about you, yourself, and you only. Now, who is the constitutional Second Amendment and the Fourth Amendment talking about? Their responses were pretty fucking interesting. Now, I didn't do this all on camera because I was too young at the time. Didn't have a cell phone at the time because my mama was kind of smart about that. She didn't let me have a cell phone until I was 18. My daddy didn't let me have a cell phone either. He was a bit of an ass about that. Even when I was 18, he's like, shit, fucking go and use that thing for target practice. It's shit and annoys the fuck out of me. When he finally got a cell phone because he had to keep in touch with his kids because we was all adults at the time, you know, he sitting there with a fucking flip phone, can't figure out how to fucking, you know, dial a number on the son bitch. Made me nutty. Anyways, so we Americans were built on rebellion. Our country was built on rebellion. And when I says we Americans were built on rebellion, I want you to understand that's actually kind of funny because it's true. the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. If you're of my generation or the generation just prior to mine, well, yeah, you were born out of rebellion. I'm just saying. You were literally born from the rebellious nature of your mother and father. Because they went out and got down and dirty in the sheets. They was fucking. And the parents was saying, no, you got to get married first. And they was just fucking. And that's what I mean by y'all was born out of rebellion, you heard? My parents didn't get married till after I was conceived, if you don't mind what I'm saying. You see, we was born from rebellion. Our country was born from rebellion. So this is how this works, okay? Most folks, they look at our culture and they says, well, I just don't understand it. And I'm like, well, I could see and I can understand why you don't understand that because of the foundations and where all you come from in your country and whatnot. But I want you to look at the foundations of my country. I want you to look at the foundations of my family and my lineage. And then I want you to look at the foundations of every American citizen that has this kind of same staunch ideal. And you think about it. Americans are rebels, out and out. They will do anything to stay free, to hold on to that small sense of liberty. And when I says anything, I means anything. You would be disgusted with yourself about what you would do in order to stay liberated. In order to be free, you would do some fucking disgusting shit, and I know it. Because it's worth it. Straight up, straight the fuck out. I've done some damn disgusting shit to stay as a free man. I ain't proud of it, but hey, if that's the price, fuck it. Because I'm not some evil motherfucker. I'm not trying to go and cause a bunch of harm. I'm trying to fix problems. Granted, there's a such thing as called collateral damage. It happens. America was built on the sweat, blood, and tears. Hard effort and work of individuals like you, like me, like pretty much just about anybody. Doesn't fucking matter skin color, creed, capability. It was built on our backs. You may not know this, but if you were to look straight the fuck up, you'd see my sister's name inscribed on that particular board where she went and built this shed. Before I utilized it, this was her she shed. Go figure. She built this. My sister. Hard fucking work. That's what built America. So when these motherfuckers try to tell you, well, you need to pay reparations and you owe me this. No, motherfucker, I don't owe you shit. As a matter of fact, if you go to the Imagine Asian Theater in Los Angeles, y'all owe me a thank you. If you're going to pull that fucking ruddy bastardized bullshit, every time you walk through that fucking front door, you owe me a thank you. Because I helped to build that motherfucker. You see how that works? It's kind of stupid because I'm not talking about all the other motherfuckers that went and helped me to build that motherfucker. That, I was the low man on a fucking totem pole, so I was doing all the hard work, but whatever. They had the technical expertise and whatnot, but so did I, but whatever. We were all working together to build this building. But no, you owe me a thank you because I worked on it. You see how retarded that fucking sounds? No, I don't owe you. You don't owe me shit. Enjoy the fucking theater. Thank the actors. Thank the proprietor. They're the ones that gave me a job. Just in case you wanted to know what it feels like to be shit on with intelligence. Stop this fucking victimized, harmonious bullshit of, well, you were cruel to the blacks and you were white supremacist. Motherfucker, listen up. My family were fucking slaves. My family were fucking sharecroppers and fucking transient migrant farm workers. My people, my family, this is on my daddy's and my mama's side, my family went to fucking bat for immigration in order to allow Americans, allow people coming to this country to become fully fledged citizens through an appropriate measure. Because guess what? They came here illegally and found out that was a wrong fucking thing to do. Both sides of my family. One for a hell of a lot longer than the other did. Yeah, my family is mostly immigrants. At the same time as I've got Native American heritage. Go figure. These people who came here illegally found out how important it was to actually have these kind of things in place, this structure in place. They didn't really come here illegally. They just came here without papers. But I digress. This is back when, WAP was a thing. They came here unpapered and papered, but they found that there was a need for tighter security, more restrictions, and a specific process so that when you become an American citizen, you understand how important it is to defend that. Because it wasn't until they had lived in this country for long enough that they understood how important that was. It wasn't until after they had been beaten down by the mob and had to join the mob in some cases that they realized how important it was to have specific immigration laws in place to protect our liberty. Makes you kind of wonder. This is why I can't stand the whole classical liberals bullshit. Because my family up until recently were not liberal by any stretch of the imag. I'm gonna point some of that shit out. My granddad was a fucking war hawk. On my daddy's side. On my mama's side was a fucking war hawk. And he was really fucking proud of it. Ted Hersey flew with the Fighting Tigers. Maybe you've heard of them. This is why I get this kind of, wild hair up my ass when somebody says, oh, well, this, that, and the other. No, this is a fucking recent development. This bullshit is a recent fucking development. Fucking progressivism, liberalism, goddamn anti-fucking Americanism. Fuck your bullshit. Get the fuck out of my goddamn country. There is a border that way. There's a border that way. There's a border that way and a border that way. Find one. Pack your shit. fuck out. All right. So in the 1960s and 70s, to answer Cha-Cha's question here, what is a war hawk? Okay. In the 1960s and 70s, you had a couple of different political ideologies. One of those political ideologies was called the war hawk. The people who, for lack of a better explanation, were invested personally and possibly monetarily in the Vietnam War. And were all for fighting in the Vietnam War. On the flip side of that, the alternative political ideology was the flower child. I know everybody's heard about the flower child, flower power and all that fun shit, you know, shooting at Kent State and all that. Okay, that's the difference. War hawk, flower power. See the difference there? One was for the war in Vietnam, one was against the war in Vietnam. They're both Americans, both political ideologies. My granddad was a war hawk on both sides. In fact, they both fought in World War II. My dad was a fucking flower child. He was a flower power guy. Funniest shit. Grew up in a military family. Was a total fucking hippie. Surfer, bro, all that fun shit. When he grew older and became like, you know, my age, 35, 36 years old, he joined the civilian side of the military industrial complex to build Tomahawk missiles, Trident missiles, and fucking, or not Trident, Tomahawk, Patriot, and, yeah, Trident 4 or Trident 5. Yeah, he was building Trident 5s. So, yeah, and Polaris. That's what he was building as a machinist. He was also making and inventing jet aircraft, you know, jet engines for silent operation, for Learjets, for like, you know, our military, for the Coast Guard and shit. You ever heard of the Viper 2 Coast Guard jet? Built with the J-Type 44 power plant? My dad helped to design that. You're welcome. So, in case you're wondering, you know, he went from being a flower child to being a fucking warmonger. He went from being, you know, a hippie to being a war hawk. And when I grew up in this convoluted crap storm of literal just, you cannot be aggressive, but you must be willing to defend. And you must be willing to defend for others, which means that you must be willing to offend. Wait, isn't that aggression? Yeah, son, but you can't be aggressive right off the gate. Okay, Dad. It don't make no fucking sense, but okay. That's how I was raised. Smoking pot and shooting guns. Funniest fucking shit, but it's true. I was raised smoking pot, drinking beer, and shooting guns. Straight the fuck up. Funniest fucking truth, but it's real. I grew up smoking pot and shooting guns. So when you know, if Uncle Sam's going to get there on that level and be like, oh, you're smoking reefer, you're committing felonies, point something out to you. Other than that victimless crime, not a single other felony was committed. the entire time. Other than victimless crimes. When I says victimless crimes, I mean you're at the gun range after you done drove in while smoking a doobie. Now that you're on the gun range, you're shooting a gun, somebody says, cease fire, you stop shooting. Somebody says, range hot, you start shooting again. High as a motherfucking kite, but following the rules. Tell me again how pot's gonna be like just, they're gonna cause all this trouble while you shoot the gun. You says what? Ain't you cute? Ain't you special? Now, see, that's what's fucking hilarious about this shit. I grew up smoking pot and fucking shooting guns. I grew up drinking beer and shooting guns. I grew up fucking my grandmama not taking the fucking Marlboro out of her mouth. Or sorry, not Marlboro, but the Winston-Salem lights out of her mouth before telling the fucking local Ogden County sheriff to kindly go and sit on a flagpole. So when I says, motherfucker, I'm redneck. Yo! Yay! Nein, you do was Dolphin. Come on. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all don't understand. I don't adhere to y'all's bullshit and propaganda. I'm a realist. And reality dictates, as long as I'm smoking a pot, or, I'm not in physical fucking pain to the point where I cannot fucking see straight, I am never going to harm somebody who is not trying to harm me in that moment. But no. If you smoke reefer, you're committing a crime. It's a felony. What, son? You smoking pot, but you smoking pot and you shooting guns. ATF gonna come to your door. FBI, open up! I'm joking, of course, because I don't have any firearms at the moment. But I'm gonna point out to you. Used to do it all the fucking time. We never shot anybody. We never hurt anybody. We never caused anyone harm. We never destroyed anybody's property. Hell, we had a fucking ricochet that came back and hit our truck. Put a dent in the quarter panel. We never intentionally fired downrange while anybody was downrange. And motherfucker, we was giggling like fucking 10-year-old girls. We was like fucking just laughing our fucking asses off, all right? It was obvious with the fucking Cheech and Chong fucking, we was high as motherfucking kites. We're still fucking following the range rules, doing everything right, going and being careful about our shot placement, doing the right thing, shooting at appropriate targets, making sure that there's no rocks behind our target, this, that, and the other. Holy fuck. It's like, and that pot better get its ass in fucking gear. I tell you what, son, because that happened back in the fucking 90s. I still ain't seen it. No. I've seen it happen with meth. I've seen it happen with crack. I've seen it happen with fucking heroin. Never seen it with pot. Never seen it with alcohol. Well, No, I can say I've seen it with alcohol because I've seen somebody drunk shoot someone, but that was because of anger, not because of other something. But I've never seen somebody who was drunk unintentionally shoot somebody. I'll say that one. Yeah, I've seen them shoot the fucking wall. I've seen them shoot the fucking car. Never unintentionally shoot in someone's general direction. Now, that's just me. That's my experience. Okay? But I can say beyond a fucking shadow of a doubt, I have never in my life seen somebody who was high on pot being the aggressor. I mean, ever. Well, ever. Yeah, it's one thing. Yeah, hey, bro, let's go outside. Let's go out back and box, bro. Fine. We both had a couple of beers. We both had a couple of doobies. You know, we're smoking cigarettes. We're having a good old fucking time. Let's go out and box. It's not going to hurt as much. But if somebody pointed a fucking gun at us, drunk or high, we did not fucking care. That motherfucker went down in a hail of bullets. All right? I'm going to be fair and honest with you. He went down in a hail of damn bullets. But barring that, never had a situation like that. Yeah, you smoke weed, you chill, you empty out the fridge. You know, you make some big old fucking spread and don't never clean it up. Then you come in later, you're all fucking groggy, you go and grab yourself a cup of coffee and you finally wipe the sleep out of your eyes, take a sip, then you look over and you're like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck happened? That was me, wasn't it? This is what I said. You know, you are not going to shoot intentionally at somebody. Hell, even unintentionally, for that matter, high on pot. There's no reason for it. Not unless that individual gives you a specific reason where even sober you would be firing rounds downrange. But no, you hear these fucking politicians talking. We have this reason that we don't let you smoke pot and shoot guns. You what? Let's hear it. Well, our reasoning is that you're going to go and cause somebody harm, and you may not even intend it, but you're going to go and cause them harm. No, I don't think I will. Matter of fact, I'm more likely to do that sober. Because I can't even see straight. Because I'm in so much fucking pain that my eyes get cloudy. Like my eyesight gets cloudy because I'm in that amount of fucking pain. So if I don't at least have a little bit before I go and I shoot my guns, I might accidentally shoot in the wrong fucking direction. But you keep believing. Oh, you keep on believing now that it's my intent to be unsafe with my firearms. Hey, Lionel, when you doing that next dare thing? I got a group for you. Oh, you stopped that? All right, all right. You see what I'm saying? You know, Lionel, the dare lion. Just stupid shit, man. It's like, oh, don't do drugs. No. At least find out what it's about. You never know. You might like it. You might like it too much. You might not like it. You don't know till you try. I'll be fair and honest. Cocaine made me have a fucking allergic reaction. Codeine got me so fucking addicted to it that it looked like somebody from, honest to God, for throughout most of the day, for many days on end, it looked like I was trying to do an impression of What's Her Butters from Tombstone. The Wyatt's wife, the one that was drinking the laudanum. So yeah, the God's honest truth. That's what it looked like. I was that fucking addicted to it. Like every other second, you know, pulling it out of my merce and going. That's why I said, you know, you might like it too much. You might not like it. Like I had an allergic reaction to cocaine. That's why you never see me do cocaine. I had a bad experience with methamphetamines. Well, more methylphenidate, but whatever. Same shit, different fucking, different source, pharmaceutical company. But, you know, I had a bad experience with that, so I don't like to do meth. I don't like people that do meth around me, and it makes me fucking aggressive as hell. Even, you know, being within the general vicinity, if I were to get some of the cloud of smoke, you know, if I were to accidentally breathe in some of that shit or get it in my eyes, it makes me super fucking aggressive to the point where I lose control while trying not to lose control. It's a different story, you know, y'all see me here, I fucking do the whole guardsman arm thing, and that's me intending to fucking lose control. But y'all ain't never seen me on meth. Y'all ain't never seen me on meth. Thank God. Because I am a whole different fucking animal. I make a bear cower. It's a whole lot of fuck around and find out. That's why I don't do meth. Because yeah, that shit's methed up, man. It's totally methed up. Anyways, so yeah, that's why I've got my big 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoa. Wait, those are all the gateway drugs. Those are the ones that are going to make it so that you want to go into other drugs, and they're going to get you caught up in these other drugs that are going to make it so that you fall into an embarrassing addiction that destroys your life and reduces you to nothing because, you know, these other drugs exist. Wait, where's the Vicodin that I used to take? Where's the codeine that I used to be hooked on? Where's the fucking any of that shit? Oh, that's right. I don't fuck with it anymore. Just the gateway drugs. Tobacco, pot, and alcohol. Hell, I hardly even mess with mushrooms. And I'm saying some shit because I actually I like some magic mushrooms. But, you know, no, I ain't a better person than that, Eric. And you should know that. I'm really not. I'm not a better person than that. I can't, I don't. I smoke pot, I drink beer, and I smoke cigarettes. The only one of the three that I'm actually actively addicted to is the tobacco. That's a physical fucking addiction. Everything else is like, yeah, whatever. The alcohol, I have maybe one a day, if that. I'll buy a 6-pack of beer and it'll last me a week, week and a half. And it's not to get shit-faced. That's the important part. Y'all don't understand why I drink beer. It's to loosen the muscles in my neck. Because these ones are not attached to my jaw. And so I get a knot right here if you can't see it. I use it for medicinal purposes, actually. Same reason I use pot, for medicinal purposes. Oh, meth. Yeah, that's one thing you could be fair and honest about. I am a better person than that. You will never see me fuck around with meth. Because that shit's methed up, man. I smoke cigarettes. I smoke pot. Hell, I'll smoke a motherfucker sitting there trying to eat my chicken feed. But I ain't smoking that meth. Fuck that crystal bullshit. Well, there's some fucking that's some big brain shit right there. That's fucking funny. I don't give a fuck who you are. That shit is fucking funny. Making a new movie in the White House. Blow White and the 7 Snorts. Yeah, there's a good one. I'm just spending time that. If you're wondering as why I could do that so well, it's because I had family members who were addicted to cocaine. My dad, for instance. So yeah, another reason I don't fuck with that shit. I got to see that shit on a regular fucking basis, actually. Give me a little bit of the tummy rumbles there. Remembering that one. Tell you what, that kind of experience in your life, that'll make your butthole pucker. And yeah, if you didn't know, I'm scraping my fucking bowl because that's where I'm at today. I'm out. This is just for, shits and gigglies because I feel like it. Not necessarily because of pain relief. But it still does have that added upside to it. This is to prove a point. Smoking pot is not going to cause any fucking crimes to be committed. You will see me here tomorrow. And the next day. And the next day. And the fucking next day. Because why? Because this is not going to cause me to go and commit a felony. Y'all get to actually see one of my new inventions that I made. It's called an alcoholic lighter. Nine, you the best dolphin. Go on. Dog out. Go on. Yeah. That's too funny. No, yeah, not snorting, rubbing alcohol. That's not happening. Not that I don't. Nope. I smoke a little herbs, smoke a little tobacco. Don't fuck around with all that shit. Nothing passes this but air. Or, you know, certain chemical compounds when I do a sniff test. Like, for instance, yep, that smells like pot. See, I'm not intentionally going out and committing any felonies. No crimes have been committed. I took a toke off some pot and I'm still coherent. Go fucking figure. How is that possible? He must smoke a lot of pot. Maybe. Maybe. I'm just not stupid. See, this is why I get on that level. Like, I'm gonna be a disrespectful ass. I am an asshole. A whole ass. Because these motherfuckers done pushed me to it. And I don't give a fuck about hurting your fifis and none of that bullshit. I'm sorry, but this is reality, you know. Don't nobody give a fuck about hurting my feelings. Why the fuck should I give a shit about anyone else? Be fair and honest. Tell me true. Why the fuck should I give a shit? Why in God's goddamn green earth, motherfucker, God, they so fucking did tell you what? Why should I give a flying rat's ass? Huh? Can you tell me now, can you? I smell fish. You know what they call that, Eric? Non-alcoholic bourbon? You know what they call that? Tea. Just in case you're wondering. It's called tea. No, I didn't pet him because I don't want him to think he's got congratulations for coming into the shed. I want him to stay out of here because there's a lot of dangerous things in this shed. Has nothing to do with whether or not it defines who I am. It actually doesn't. It shows that I have enough self-adherence, self-worth to know that that's how I trained him. I didn't train him on treats. He gets treats because I love him. He gets congratulations because he did something right. There's a whole different field there. He's stepping into the shed where I told him not to be. That means that he's not getting congratulations. He's getting ignored for it because he's doing something wrong. And if I have to keep on reinforcing Vestalfang, this command for you need to leave, then at some point I actually have to cause some form of sharp pain, momentary sharp pain, fleeting, in order to gain his attention, because shaking keys at him doesn't work. He's like, yeah, what the fuck's that? Huh? What? I give him pig ears to chew on. I give him beef tendons to chew on and elk trachea to chew on. Because, yeah, that's what I call a treat for him. I give him cheese with his food as a probiotic. I give him yogurt with his food as a probiotic. I want there to be a distinction between the two. So this is a treat. This is supposed to be for, this tastes good. It's enjoyment, it's relaxation, and it's exercise for my jaws. That's what I want him to get out of it. This is because he loves me. He wants to take care of me. Same vice versa with, the food having the special little gut somethings in it. Every birthday he gets steak. Not, oh, well, yeah, okay. I'll give him a piece of a steak on his birthday because, he's a good boy. No, he gets a full fucking filet mignon. So don't tell me that I don't fucking care about my dog and I don't love him and cherish him and take care of him and love on him all the time and do all sorts of good for him. That dog is treated fucking better than the King of England. Do not get it twisted. He's also a puppy, which means that I have to teach him to not, piss on the carpet, basically, for lack of a better metaphor. He's a puppy. I mean, yeah, he's technically an adult now. He's 3 years old. He'll be 3 on the 12th, which is 4 days from now. Yeah, he'll be 3 years old on the 12th. He's technically an adult, but in his mind, he's still a puppy. He hasn't quite hit that mental transition yet. He will. And when he does, that's when we have to have that sit down and talk. You are my best friend. I try my damnedest to be your best friend. So let's work together You listen to what I have to say, and I will listen to you when you say something. Because now you understand proper etiquette, you know how to do things right and proper, and you have what we call doggy manners, which means that if, heaven forbid, something was ever to happen to me, you can find a new home where somebody will be able to tolerate your presence, even though they don't necessarily have the same love for you that I do. And that way you can kind of wheedle your way into their heart because you have the manners that you need in order to not shit on the carpet, not piss on the carpet, not sleep on the fucking couch because the couch ain't yours. You know, this is your special bed, your special spot, this, that, and the other. These are your food bowls. These are your treats. Nobody's allowed to take them from you because they are yours and yours alone. Nobody can have them. Nobody can take them. Nobody can eat them except for you. Now, I taught him a very specific way so that he would understand. Because I understand how dogs, how their minds work, how they normally think, and how their natural methodology, you know, in raising goes. So I can therefore infer the way that I need to act as a human being in order to get a proper message across to him and get the right behaviors on the ending side of it. You see, I only had to tell him to leave. I didn't have to sit there and smack him with a switch. You know, I didn't have to sit there and whip him or nothing. I didn't have to yell and scream and, no, bad dog, this, that, and the other. No. I just said 2 words. Vest Alfing. Which is actually 4 words, but it's really 2 words in the command. It means, get out of here. It means invest yourself in leaving. That's what Westalfing means. It's German. But, you know, of course, people might think that that's, you know, that's all awesome and all that stuff. But when they hear about how I came about being able to get that kind of behavior from a dog, well, then they fucking lose their minds. Because when he was big enough to be able to physically take it, but still young enough that he was of a mindset to where, you know, pain equals I did something wrong, I used a stick one time to smack him on the shoulder, where if he was in the wild, his parents would have bit through to the bone in order to get the same message across. So I'm not actually being cruel by comparison. But, you know, I digress. People get fucking flipped out about me using a fucking thin little twig to get a dog's attention because that dog naturally would not listen to anything else because they don't use vocal cues like we do. They use visual ones. God, it's such a fucking pain in the ass for me to fucking tolerate people's stupidity. You know, dogs use corporal punishment to this day in the wild. The reason we don't? Because he's sensitive. Oh, my poor feelings. My daddy whooped my ass one fucking time, and one time only. Well, twice, but I digress. Twice, because I earned them. Both of them. Earned them. When I says whoop my ass, he pulled off his belt, or he picked up a fucking fly swatter, turned it around, and used the handle part of it. And smacked, while speaking the words, "Don't do it again." It's called switch training. sorry that it's too hard for people to understand. But it works, and it works really well. And it gets a result that is cherished by trainers, because I can command my dog to stand on my absolute side and not move while they're doing all sorts of fucking funky ass shit. My dog is better behaved than some police dogs, and he is still in the mindset of a puppy. Let that sink in. I'm not calling you particularly, Chacha. I'm saying people in general. I met folks on the interwebs. I met folks in the fucking everyday whatso have yous, where they lose their fucking minds because they see somebody training a puppy to be an actual adult dog, and they don't understand it because they never taught their dog that way. I taught my dog that way because that's the way I was taught. That's the way that my dogs were taught since I was a child, and they always turned out to be very well behaved and still understood that they were loved more than life itself, cherished above all. If it was my dog, that dog got taught a certain way, and that dog was also one of the greatest, the best behaved, smartest freaking, oh my God. See, actually, he knew I wasn't talking directly at you, Cha-Cha. It's just something what you said, what brought up the train of thought. Okay, it has nothing. I'm not saying that you're the one who's sitting here saying that I'm doing wrong by the way that I train my dog. Because if you noticed, I did teach him to be able to take verbal commands, which is not something that they do naturally. So that's what I'm talking about. It's a matter of, you were sitting there, well, why didn't you pet him? It's because I was giving him a verbal command and he was ignoring it. If I go outside of the shed, I will definitely sit there and love on him, all that fun stuff, but I'm not going to do it inside the shed because I'm trying to keep him on the mindset of there's a wall there. I'm not supposed to be in here. It's only the gravest of emergencies. I'm really sick, or there's somebody who's not supposed to be here that's here. That's when I come in and I tell Dad. Plain and simple. I mean, that's why it's like I was doing all that. It ain't pointed directly at you. It's more of it's a gripe. It's a freedom gripe, as it were, because people are mean. People are fucking monsters. And they don't understand that, there is a virtuous side of things. Even though it don't look it in the very beginning, there is a virtuous side of things. Like, for instance, smoking ain't good for you. But if I don't have some form of nicotine, I'll snatch a motherfucker up by the short and curlies and ask them what the fuck they did wrong before I even know what they did wrong. So it's probably better to have nicotine. Quickest way to get that into my system, smoke it. But, I go walking down the street and I do this. People are like, "Oh, my air! You're making my asthma." Motherfucker, I got asthma too. What? I got asthma and COPD. What you gonna do? Have a panic attack now? Here, have a cigarette. You know, this is that stupid shit I keep on talking about. You know, it's like the stupid shit is going all fucking Karen mode without all the facts. If you're gonna go full Karen, at least fucking be right. Because if you're right, I can humble myself to the point of saying, all right, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll work with that. But if you're going to spout off just one side of a political spectrum, oh shit, son, I done had my fill of that, and I'm about to light you up. One, you ain't got your facts right because you're trying to politicize shit, and two, well, fuck you. That's my response there. So, you know, that's why I don't try to stay too adherent to one political side or the other. What are you doing that you're not supposed to be doing right now? Yeah. Il du Westhoffen. This is not for you. None. There is none. It's all gone. Il du Westhoffen. That's it. It works. This is why I don't like it when people get fucking offended about bullshit that they don't know fuck all about. Because you don't. This is plain and simple. You're getting offended over something you don't know fuck all about. And if you did know, you'd shut up. You're like, yeah, okay, well, that works. Just so you know, he's Doberman, Aleutian, and German Shepherd mix. Doberman Pinscher, Aleutian Shepherd, and German Shepherd mix. Those flop ears, that's the Dobie. A lot of people don't know it because they always see the little cropped ears. It's always standing up straight like that. In order to get that, they got to cut off most of the ear because it's only the top of their ears that do all of that. The bottom of their ear is actually, it's rigid. A lot of people don't know this. The top of their ear is where they've got the muscle at that actually moves their ear. That's why I don't crop my dog's ears no matter what. Yeah, he'll stand his ears up straight sometimes, but it's more effort to do so. And I want it to be that way for a reason. It's so that if I shoot my air gun or something, or if there's a truck that backfires, or there's fireworks going off, he can shut his ears. It protects his eardrums from actually any damage. A lot of people don't know that about cropping, you know? They're evolved that way for a specific reason. You know, the German Shepherd has the sonar dishes because they need to be able to hear tanks coming from a long freaking ways off. They were, you know, your basic watchdog and tank bomb dog. It's kind of fucked, but anyways. The Aleutian Shepherd, size, because they were built for fighting against bears and pumas. And also being war dogs, fighting on the front lines against human beings. But they were first and foremost bred to fight pumas and bears. So, yeah, big dog. On top of that, we have the Doberman Pinscher. They were trained to be the ultimate guard dog, the ultimate attack dog, and on top of that, be the most intimidating facial features of any of the war dog species. They were not necessarily war dogs themselves, but they were in a sense. They didn't have the bite force of the German Shepherd, so they couldn't really be considered war dogs. They're more like, guard dogs, the ultimate guard dog, because they don't have the same bite force. They got enough bite force to hurt you, but not enough to kill you. German Shepherd does. And an Aleutian Shepherd will crush your skull. So that's one of the reasons why I'm very specific about how I train him. Yeah. See, it's a pretty interesting part of history right there. The German Shepherd was actually the German Shepherd that we know, not the Belgian Malinois, not the Aleutian Shepherd, not the the original German Shepherd, which was not the same as modern German Shepherds. Okay. Modern German Shepherds, the breed was actually molded over a 10-year period to create the most obedient, war-capable dog. They were originally bred in order to protect sheep and to herd sheep and to fight wolves. So that's what the German Shepherd was bred for originally. They took those original bits and then they added the best qualities that they got out of the dog together in order to get the end result, which is an entirely obedient dog that will follow commands to their death. So you have to be very clear about your commands and be clear about it being a command. One of the downsides of having a German Shepherd, you have to be very clear that it is a command. It's one of the problems with speaking English and then commanding in English, because you have to use tonal differences. And you may not always use those tonal differences because you get comfortable in talking to your dog like it's a human being, because they have the mental capacity to be human beings. Okay. So again, you have to understand the difference of breed to be able to teach the dog. Doberman Pinschers, extremely loving, extremely loyal, want to be up your ass at all times. Okay? That's just a reality of it. They want to be up your ass at all times. So you have to actually force them to separate themselves from you for a period of time so that they understand that they can be comfortable in that. So that they're not pining. I'm not that far away. I'm coming back to you. I'm never going away completely. That's sort of a feeling so that they understand, hey, it's all okay. I don't need to be nervous. And with Aleutian Shepherds, you have to be the force of fucking Hades on earth to be able to control that dog. You have to show him that no matter what, that dog's handler, that dog's person, is the only motherfucker that dog cannot attack. No matter what, because it will lose. That's a really tall order. That's why when you see the guys who do the Aleutian Shepherds in the U.S. military, they're not dealing the ones dealing with the Belgian Malinois. The guys who get the Belgian Malinois are normally like short. You know, they could be the little shorter, smaller kind of guys. The ones who are getting the Aleutians are at least 6 foot tall and built like a fucking shit brick house. All right. They're not fucking small. These people are not tiny. They are forces of nature themselves in order to be able to handle the dog. There have been very, very few Aleutian Shepherd handlers that were shorter than 6 foot tall and looking like they could freaking match Hulk Hogan. Okay? No, that's what I'm saying. It's a different fucking kind of dog. And the only reason why I know about Houdini actually having that heritage is because I knew his granddad. And I also know what markers to look for. The pattern that goes across the collarbone is normally an indicator that if you get that in one puppy, then the whole lot of them, that's a good indicator that they have Aleutian Shepherd. Another good indicator that they're Aleutian Shepherd and, mixed in with the rest of the breeds is that once they get to that adult form, in their teenage sort of, their adolescent point in their life, the keel on their chest dips down flat and straight, even though they're walking on all fours, they're not sitting or nothing, and they got their head forwards. Their neck goes like this into their keel, and it goes straight down and then curves around up and then in. It's different from and they're narrow versus like, the Doberman that has a little bit wider shoulders, or the German that has the keel that's actually a little bit more shallow so that they can crawl up underneath tanks. It's not the same with the Aleutian Shepherd, which has that really deep keel and really narrow, because they need to be able, funny enough, to be able to ford rivers. A lot of rivers they're short and, they're not that deep up there in Alaska, especially in the Aleutian chain. But at the same time, there are rivers, there are creeks, there are streams, and the dog may have to charge across this in order to protect you or protect your platoon or what have you from, say, a bear or puma or wolves or what have you. So this adaptation, this very narrow but very deep keel, that's their chest, okay, it allows them to cut through the water when they run, rather than having to ford the water by forging it like most dogs would do, having to hop through it. An Aleutian Shepherd, if you've ever seen an Aleutian Shepherd running through water, it's just straight. It looks almost like they're running on top of the water. Because as long as it's not, deeper than about 2 foot, they fly through it. Whereas other dogs will do this kind of porpoise action. Even Labradors, which they're swimmers. They love swimming. When their feet touch the ground, they will porpoise. Whereas an Aleutian will just freaking shoot through it. And it all comes down to that little evolutionary trait that they have of that very deep keel, the very strong, hefty front forepaws. It doesn't look like much from the front end because they're kind of skinny. But they're built for speed. They're built for killing. They're built for power, and they're built to be able to fight with their forepaws, which is why if you ever see when Houdini jumps up on me, he puts his paws up like this. He doesn't come in with his mouth. He doesn't come in trying to hook over the top. He puts his paws up like this, trying to use his dew claws as weapons in order to grasp a hold so that he can then come in with a bite. And he's play charging at that time because it's me. But that's actually how Aleutian Shepherds fight. So it's a small little trait that you can go and then turn to say, you know what? No, that's Aleutian Shepherd. So you got three things there: size, keel, or no, four things: size, keel, powerful forend, and fights with their paws. And at least one puppy of the litter will have the white T across their chest, right on the collarbone. And, you know, he's got it. He's got it in spades. So, you know, that's one of those things I got. One of my brother's other friends got the stud of the litter, the alpha of the litter, and all black. This beautiful, solid black. Mouth was black. Nose is black. Eyes are black almost to the sclera. I mean, like, body is completely black. Has just the front tips of his toes have two little it's just like little dots of white on there. And then he's got brown socks on his forepaws. That's it. Jet black the rest of the way around. The name's Nemo. See, he got the alpha of the litter. I got the sigma of the litter. I got the actual pick of the litter. If you know anything about dogs, the sigma is the best of the litter. So, yeah, I was impressed. I thought, you know, oh, he wanted an all black one, so he got an all black one. So I was like, okay. Doesn't realize that, you know, their color comes in when they get older. So I got the one with the little white spot T on his chest. Not like, you know, it was when he was born, the T was only like this big, you know, but it was a little white T on the front of his chest, which when he grew up, it came in all the way across his shoulders. And he's got the socks in now on all four paws and creamy white belly. But he didn't have any of that when he was a puppy, when he was a little bitty born. He was all black, except for that little white dot. So, and yeah, so that, you know, the little tidbits that were able to tell me exactly what his breeds are told me how I had to teach him. All right. His mom is German Shepherd, all black German Shepherd. His mom's dad was a police dog known as Bruno, which was his dad was Aleutian Shepherd, and his mom was German Shepherd. And see, Houdini's dad, his physical dad, is Doberman Pinscher and German Shepherd. So, you know, you get the full fucking mix of it. It's like, whoa. Yeah. Shepherds can get big. All right. German Shepherds can get big, but they are nothing by comparison to Aleutians. Okay. Houdini is 3 years old and he could put his paws right about the bottom of my chest right here and be standing so that he doesn't hurt his hips or his back. That's on a plane like this. That's not on a plane like, you know, like you and me. That's on a plane like, you know, like that. He can stand up and put his paws right about here. If he wanted to, he can literally put his paws on my shoulders. And he's only 3 years old. He has he's just gotten to that point of being an adult. Physically speaking, like his body is fully adult. That doesn't mean that he's not going to continue to grow. Because like all German Shepherds, which are a predecessor breed, Aleutian Shepherds continue to grow until the day they die. Their body will physically continue to grow. I am going to have a giant of a dog on my hands. And so, of course, I had to be really on point with training him because it's something I cannot fuck around with. A dog that big is the most powerful predator that anybody would allow into their houses on a normal day-to-day basis. You wouldn't normally let a puma into your house. This dog was bred to be able to kill pumas and to run down tanks and to hunt Panzerjägers. Okay? This dog was literally built from the freaking ground up to kill humans. So yeah, I kind of got to be real careful about my boy, be real nice to him, and at the same time be real on point with how I train him, because he's a specific type of dog that moments fucking notice he could turn on you if you don't know what you're doing. This is a big deal. They are very powerful predators. This is why I have signs all around my place that says, beware of dog. It's not for his protection, dumbass. It's for yours. It's to tell you, hey, don't fuck with that guy. He'll eat you. He was bred for that purpose. All of his brothers and sisters were so ornery because nobody taught them right that I'm sure most of them had to be put down. It's a pretty sad fact, but it's true. His sister that came up here with me, the feller that owned her, didn't want to keep her because he didn't want to put in the time to train her. That made me madder. Fuck, I kicked him out of my house on grounds of otherwise, but that was a defining factor in him not coming back. Because that pissed me right the fuck off. Dude, you're going to so-called rescue this dog from, this asshole who gets drunk all the fucking time to the point where he won't feed her, but you're not going to teach her in the event that your diabetic ass ends up in a fucking coma and dead, so she has to find a new home. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. That pissed me off like you cannot believe. Boy, howdy, I tell you what. They try to tell me that, you're this, that, and the other. You're so bad for that dog. No, I love him. That's why you got your nose burnt. Because you're not supposed to be in here. You're the best all thing. That's it. And stole for all thing. See how that's the way you got to teach them. It takes a little bit of pain to reinforce, hey, that was stupid. I didn't have to punish him because he burnt himself. He singed the whiskers right under his nose. He's like, oh, shit. That was stupid. Yeah. God damn that. Yeah, dumbass. Of course it hurt. It's fire. 9. You the best offense. He's over there telling his buddies, the neighbor dogs, you know, God damn that hurt. Duh. Fuck. Some days I wonder about his intelligence, but other days I know he's smarter than a fucking whip crack. He just play acts like being stupid. Have a good one, Cha-Cha. Thank you for coming by, and much love. And you have a good day. I don't know about naming dogs Satan, but I think if I have another dog ever again, and you best believe it's going to be raised from a puppy. That's just how it is. That's the only way I've ever had a dog as I kept. Raised from a puppy. And when I says a dog as I kept, I mean, I've had other dogs. They had a propensity for running out in traffic to go and find their previous owners and ended up getting killed by it. Which is why I put a pretty high profoundness on no, it's a puppy or nothing. I'll fucking walk through life alone. I don't give a shit. I am not doing that to a dog. My dog, if he unfortunately has to go to a pound, it ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna fucking tell you mine. My brother will take him. My sisters will take him. My mama will take him because he's well behaved. Because I taught him. And that's one of them things. It's just like, I just want to fucking knock somebody out. Like, it's a far kinder sight that if you can't, you know, if the dog itself cannot function without that individual, it's far kinder sight to put them down. And I hate to say that because it hurts to think of, you know, but the dogs are an emotional creature. All right. They're very emotional, and you have to understand that when you're dealing with them. You have to actually push their minds and mold their minds to make them think logically. Otherwise, they think entirely based upon emotion and instinct alone. They'll still learn language. They'll still learn these other little, you know, tricks and traits that you have, but they won't have the structure and the foundation that's necessary. Because you want to do that, I would suggest one of 3 dogs. If you want a dog that's that big. Tibetan Mastiff. Great Pyrenees. Or the creme de la creme, Dojo Argentina. Those are dogs that will be awesome around kids for the most part. Very loving animals to their people. Are so fucking big that your kids could ride them as a horse. Hell, you might be able to ride him as a horse. And at the same, all three of them were bred as guard dogs and war dogs. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you're partial to your Pomeranian. You do know they come from Poland, right? I just want to throw that out there. You do know they come from Poland. Pomeranian Wolfenspitzen. That's a mouthful. Quite literally, little Pomeranian wolf. Linguistics, it's a beautiful thing. So, any Hoosiers, I don't know if y'all noticed, but there has been for the last 2.5 hours, that link at the top of the description, that, you know, if you want to come up here, you can talk about anything. You can talk about the freaking video I says. We can talk about dogs. We can talk about rifles. We can talk about black powder guns. We can talk about cannon. We can talk about aircraft carriers. We can talk about the B-2. We can talk about whatever. Just, I don't know. It's up to you. You can stay in the chat if you want. I don't mind. But I'm going to be wrapping it up here in about 20, 30 minutes, calling her, because I got shit I got to do. So, anyways, that's nothing. I got so many gripes these days. So many gripes. It spaces me out sometimes. Was ist? Du hast von Sinnen? Yeah? Okay. I'll be right back. All right. Oh, boy. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm sitting here biding my time. Things will work out in the end, right? It'll all be okay. Good vibes, good vibes. Yeah, you do that, cuz. Like I says, I'm thinking about shutting shit down. So if you come back and I ain't here, well, you know what happened. But yeah, that's all. I'm sitting on the wayside, just having me a chunner about things that's fucking just bothered the fuck out of me. Oh, Spreckens evasion. What's some of the other shit? Oh, hey, 4:20. It's 4:20 in the afternoon. Um, Survivalist inmate escape in freaking Cleveland. 9 wounded in Cleveland shooting. Cluster bombs sent to Ukraine. Oh boy. Well, now that the rain is left, y'all out there on the East Coast, it's up there on the Northeast Coast, New England coast. Uh, all these fucking things, man. I got gun ban this and oh, be afraid that, and we just. I ain't impressed. I really ain't impressed. But today I'm gonna send y'all off with a very specific. This is my outro. I'm gonna send you out with a very specific. All right, and that is remember who you are. Remember where you come from. Remember what you were. And remember why you are what you are now. And I would say extend that knowledge beyond just your own life. Look at your heritage. Now, if you're an American like me, and you're seeing what's going on, I want you to hit that like, share button, whatever the fuck. You get this out to your friends. If you're an American, but not like me, and you got this kind of thought process of, well, we just need to ban all the guns and that way things will get better. What the fuck is this? Just saying. What the fuck is this? Just saying. Okay? Your gun ban don't mean fuck all in a goddamn freaking brothel, y'all. It don't mean shit. What it means is that you're taking away from law-abiding people, because by that very nature, they're the ones who are following those regulations you're following down, and stopping them from defending themselves against people who look at your laws and says, huh, that's cute. In order to enforce that, you're going to actually have to, I don't know, catch me. Use that common sense. I want you to think right and proper. I want you to use your head, because the reality of the situation is that only the smart survive. The strong die all the fucking time. Only the smart survive. So be smart about it. As it were, this has been another Freedom Forum on a Psycho Sunday by yours truly, Yo Guardsman. And motherfuckers, I am out!